OpenAI just tossed out their shiny new deep research feature, but Perplexity is still the real MVP everyone's raving about. And trust me, once you know how to actually work it, you will see why. In this video, I'm cracking open all the pro secrets so you can prompt like a boss, unlock every sneaky feature. I'm talking the full rundown, how to prompt, which models to pick, those hidden perks nobody mentions, plus a grip of underrated hacks you'll wish you'd known ages ago. After this, you will never research the same way again. Once you open up Perplexity, the first thing you'll notice is how simple and clean it looks. There's a single input field right in the middle, and below there are options like a focus selector, a button to attach files, and a toggle for pro search. Simple, right? Just type your question or command, and Perplexity is good to go. Underneath that, you'll see some example requests. On the left side, there is a menu where you can start a new thread. If you are in Windows, you can do this super fast with Control-I. If you're in the Mac, it's Command-K. By default, you're on the home page. That's where you type in your queries. Then you've got Discovery, which is like a mini feed of trending stuff. It's almost like your own personal newspaper, although it doesn't have tons of customization still. It's a pretty neat feature that shows interesting topics you might have missed. Below that is Spaces, which works kind of like folders on steroids. You can organize threads, files, or anything else into different groups. You can also invite other people to collaborate with you, share data, and make a real group effort out of it. If you're part of a research team, this is huge, keeps everything tidy, and makes sure no one's stepping on each other's toes. Then there's the library, which is basically a big list of all your past threads. Below all that, if you click on your profile picture, you can jump into Incognito mode. When you use that, your requests don't go into your history and they will expire after 24 hours. Next to your profile, you've also got the settings button. That's where you can tweak Perplexity to your liking. If you're a person who loves customizing everything, you will want to poke around in there. The first prompt and role is be direct. Perplexity focuses on providing factual, somewhat dry responses, so you have to be just like that. Forget about cordial stuff, ask directly what you need. What is the capital of France? No please, no thanks, or long and layered prompts and structures. Perplexity aims to be conversational, and if you remember tips from our ChatGPT guide, being conversational with AI means talking to it like you would do to a human, but not to your friend. Imagine you are an uptight boss, and Perplexity is your employee. Be direct and get good responses every time. Good advice would be to give Perplexity personality, but you already knew that. Let's be frank, for chatting with a personality, it's always better to have full control over the behavior of that personality. OpenHome, the sponsor of today's video, is a great place for that. Has a huge marketplace of ChatGPT-based personalities to chat with, from Leonardo da Vinci to aliens, and creating your own personality is also super easy. I just click here and fill in the blanks, name, description, image. Then I also need to give my personality description of its behavior. It can be a simple piece of text because the built-in improver can rewrite it in a better way in a click. With that done, I also need to pick a voice for my personality because OpenHome personalities can actually talk to you.
Hi, welcome to OpenHome.
Hi, welcome to OpenHome.
So you can literally talk with them in real time, which is so cool.
There are so many exciting new AI tools popping up all the time.
Once the personality is ready, you can chat straight away. In the panel on the right, there are model parameters that you can tweak at any moment, which is super useful. Type your prompts, say them out loud, do whatever you like. The personalities are really good at sticking to the script. They don't stop acting their part no matter what you do.
The falcon is a marvel of the skies.
And on top of that, you can enable custom abilities for your personalities, like checking the weather, the time, doing math, etc. They can be plugged into any third-party API and used with designated trigger words. And of course, you can create custom abilities too.
Temperature in New York is 0.2 degrees Celsius.
So check out OpenHome and create your own custom identity. The link is in the description. Sometimes, though, you might want a sprinkle of humanity in your answers. If you'd prefer a more personal tone, you could say something like, hey, can you tell me about the health benefits of yoga? It's still pretty direct, but the answer to such a prompt will sound less robotic. Perplexity will often respond with a bit more warmth, giving you something closer to human perspective without losing its factual edge. Now, if you look at the way Perplexity structures its answers, you'll notice it's not just a giant block of text. It's like reading a mini article. Often with images on the right. When I asked about the capital of France, I got a bunch of photos, maybe from Google or relevant sites, and I also had the option to generate my own images about Paris too. So it's not just a fact dump, it's visual experience. The sources for each response appear at the top in their own section. In the text itself, you will see hyperlinks leading you to the places where the info was pulled from. This is awesome if you are trying to verify what Perplexity told you, or if you want to dig deeper into any particular point. It's also super handy if you're fact-checking for a report or article. No more guesswork about whether the AI is making stuff up or referencing actual data. For each response in the thread, there's also an option to search for additional images and videos on that topic. So if you need pictures, references, or just want to turn your single question into a full-blown article, you can do that all in one spot. Tip number 3, ask for step-by-step explanations. Most times AI is like this mysterious black box that spits out results, and sometimes it's tough to figure out how it arrives at those answers. When you ask it to break things step-by-step methodically, Perplexity's answers become way clearer. Even if you're asking something simple, explain how photosynthesis works step-by-step, you will notice the response might include extra details, some cool facts, and often an image or two that helps illustrate the concept. That extra structure makes it so much easier to absorb everything, especially if you're new to the topic. And trust me, once you get into more complicated questions like the mechanics behind quantum computing, you will be glad you can see how Perplexity connects the dots. Perplexity is just one of many AI tools you might need. To make searching for AI tools easier, we've created AI Tool Finder on Geekademy. Just mention Geekademy and briefly describe the tool you're looking for. It's that easy. It's available to our subscribers, so hit the link to join. If the default responses aren't blowing your mind, try turning on Pro Search. This feature forces the algorithm to do way more reasoning and thinking. It's almost like switching ChatGPT from 4.0 to 0.1. Even a straightforward query, what are the long-term effects of climate change, can trigger deeper research, more advanced analysis, and it might pull in sources you wouldn't normally see. Sure, the formatting might look similar at first glance, but under the hood, there is a serious quality upgrade. When you start diving into complex or specialized topics like medical studies, or legal documents, you will really notice how Pro Search digs out info that regular mode might skip. Like most language models, Perplexity remembers the context of your current conversation, so you can keep asking related follow-up questions in the same thread and still get coherent answers. For instance, if you first asked about climate change in general, you can then probe deeper with something like, how does climate change impact the Amazon rainforest? And it will stay consistent with the earlier info. Some AI tools, yes, ChatGPT, we're looking at you, can occasionally contradict themselves, even if you are in the same chat. But Perplexity is really focused on consistency, perfect for when you're serious about your research or working on a big project where you need reliable, cohesive answers every single time. Perplexity is multimodal, which means it was trained to work not only with text data, but also with files and images. It is also quite good at doing data analysis of various sorts, so don't hesitate to upload your files to Perplexity. You can upload files when starting a new thread by clicking the Attach button in the search bar. You can upload textual files, including plain text, code, or PDFs, as well as images up to 4 files at once and up to 25 megabytes per file. Technically, this is not a lot, but let's not forget that Perplexity targets researchers and facts, and scientific papers rarely weigh more than 25 megabytes. And once you upload a file, you can do all sorts of manipulations with it, like summarization. Summarize the key points of this research paper. See? Easy. For more balanced and well-rounded answers, try asking for comparisons. This forces Perplexity to look at several angles at once and helps it deliver more neutral response. So let's say you ask, compare and contrast renewable energy sources. If you want specific formatting, like a table, just say so. Upload an example table or layout and Perplexity will try to match it. Once you start doing these comparisons, you will see just how robust Perplexity can be when it's digging into multiple data streams at once. It turns your research results into something that feels more like an in-depth article than a quick AI snippet. The coolest and scariest thing about AI is how fast it evolves. The industry grows like it's in steroids, and sometimes it feels impossible to keep up. So to keep you updated and give you a bunch of useful advice on AI, we created Geek Academy. There, we share the latest news about AI, tool compilations, and foster a community. And of course, we post guides on AI tools as well. Now, Perplexity does have a cutoff date for its learned data, but it also has web access. So if you're after the latest, most relevant info, you should definitely ask for real-time data. For example, what are the current stock market trends? You will get Perplexity's up-to-the-minute analysis, plus links to back it all up. Then, to make everything more visual, you can ask for a graph right inside Perplexity. The default graph might look pretty basic at first, but gives you a quick snapshot of what's going on. If you need something more detailed, you just have to be super direct with what you want in the graph, like specifying a date range or particular metrics. And for fully interactive charts, you can click suggestions on the main page. I clicked Costco stock price analysis and got real-time dynamic chart. Just remember to keep those prompts clear and straight to the point, because Perplexity can get finicky if wording is vague. Perplexity is also pretty solid with code tasks. It won't take the job of a junior dev anytime soon, but can seriously speed up your workflow. Let's say you need a quick Fibonacci script in Python. Show me a Python script to calculate Fibonacci numbers. And boom, Perplexity will generate the code snippet in seconds, complete with comments explaining each step. So even if you're new to coding, you can understand what's happening. It's handy for debugging too. If you upload your code, Perplexity might spot a missing bracket or an off by one error you overlooked. It's not perfect, but for small projects or quick fixes, it's useful. For programming, you should look for more specific tools. On Geek Academy, we have quite a few tools for you to check. We post only tools we try ourselves, and all the reviews are personal and factual. We add tools as we test them, so be sure to join. Another trick is using Perplexity's built-in fact-checking style of research. If you want a super factual response, just tell Perplexity to verify something. Instead of giving you every angle imaginable, we'll dig up data that either confirms or denies your statement. This drastically cuts down on random AI hallucinations and forces the system to find legit sources. For instance, I asked, verify the claim, drinking coffee increases lifespan. In my case, there actually were some research papers backing that up, and Perplexity neatly summarized them for me. This way, I got a clean, focused analysis rather than a scattershot of opinions. Now, you might be asking, why should I bother with Perplexity if ChatGPT already does so much? AIs are like tools, and each tool needed for a certain job. For casual chatting or broad topics, ChatGPT is totally fine. For deeper data crunching or fancy visuals, you might look at something like Claude. But for straight-up factual research, Perplexity is the way to go. It's all about transparency. It doesn't bury its sources at the bottom of the page or skip them entirely. It puts them front and center. That means you can verify exactly where it got its info, no more guessing whether your AI is just making stuff up. Obviously, your mileage may vary depending on your personal workflow, but if you're a student, researcher, or anyone who really cares about the accuracy of your data, Perplexity is a fantastic choice. Tools like ChatGPT and Gemini are do-it-all tools, while Perplexity is super good at researching and keeping things transparent. All this stuff I said is correct for the default Perplexity model, and that's exactly where it starts to be so different when compared to competitors. Instead of having only one legacy model, Perplexity lets users switch between models. Each model has its own strengths and weaknesses, and by cleverly switching between them, you can get some really nice results. To change a model, you go to Settings, scroll down, and in Model, pick the one you want to use. Let's go over each model one by one. So first up is the default model. It's your everyday driver for quick, efficient searches. My example prompt is, what are the main causes of climate change? That's a direct question, no fancy analysis, just a need for some core facts. The default model delivers it quickly and concisely. If you want an immediate answer with minimal fuss, that's your best bet. Then there is Claude 3.5 Sonnet, which I like to break out for more nuanced language tasks. For instance, explain the symbolism in T.S. Eliot's The Wasteland. That one's packed with layers and references. Claude Sonnet is fantastic at pulling apart metaphors, historical context, all that literary detail. Perfect for deeper analysis, essays, or anything that needs a lot of nuance. Next up is Sonar Large. This one directly integrates with Perplexity's search engine, so it's kind of your always up-to-date model, plugged into the web for fresh info. If you need something about cutting-edge tech or the latest scientific announcements, Sonar Large can sift through those new articles and studies like a champ. Sonar is an interesting model. It's a niche one, and I'm sure there are people on Geek Academy that can shed some light on how good it really is. Moving on, we have GPT 4.0. Everyone knows GPT-4 is sort of the big name in AI right now, and GPT 4.0 is basically the version inside Perplexity. If you want a more detailed breakdown in GPT 4.0, I've already got a guide for it, so check that out if you're curious. But in short, it's a great all-rounder with a knack for detailed reasoning and well-structured answers. After that is Sonar Huge. Think of it like Sonar Large, but in steroids. It's built for massive data sets, digging through complex patterns, or analyzing entire markets. So if you've got a huge research project, this is the model you would turn to. Now, Grok 2 is interesting. It's all about varied perspectives. It's not limited to purely factual answers. We'll explore different angles, ethical implications, societal viewpoints, that sort of thing. If you're dealing with open-ended debates or morally ambiguous topics, you'll probably enjoy Grok's balanced approach. Then we have Claude 3.5 Haiku. It's a lighter version of Claude, super quick, does a nice job on simpler queries, but it can still give you a neat, cohesive response. Perfect when you need a short summary or a fast explanation without going too deep. The last model is GPT-01. This is your heavy lifting, advanced reasoning model. If you're dropping a multi-step physics problem about projectile motion and air resistance, GPT-01 will handle it. It's the best for formula-based tasks or tricky logic questions. Like I said in the beginning, ChatGPT has its own deep research now. Just switch it on in ChatGPT and ask away. OpenAI claims it can autonomously conduct multi-step internet research for complex tasks, finds, analyzes, and synthesizes information from various online sources, including text, images, and PDFs, to generate comprehensive reports comparable to those produced by research analysts. If you are a pro subscriber, you can submit prompts along with additional context through text, images, PDFs, or spreadsheets. ChatGPT then responds with 5 to 30 minutes, providing a summary of its research process with citations. Despite its advanced capabilities, deep research has limitations, such as occasionally confusing authoritative information with rumors. To not miss out on updates like this, simply join Geek Academy, our platform for AI enthusiasts. Talk to other people, share your knowledge. So yeah, each model in that list has its own sweet spot. Some do great at literary deep dives, some are better at big data scanning, others excel in complex math or broad ethical debates. Typically, each of these models would cost you separate subscription fees. Like ChatGPT Plus is $20, Claude Pro is another $20. Grok is inside an $8 subscription X, etc. But with Perplexity, basically get them all rolled into the same service for $20. That's easily $50 deal if you pieced it together on your own. But here, you're set with just one subscription. But as I mentioned, get access to a bunch of models, which is pretty sweet. You also get unlimited quick searches, over 300 pro searches a day, unlimited file uploads, plus tools to visualize answers with Playground AI, DALL-E. On top of that, Perplexity throws in $5 in API credits every month. Pretty good deal overall. Now, I remember showing you the focus button. Focus in Perplexity is a unique feature you won't find anywhere else. What it does is limit the search results to a specific niche or type of data. Works kind of like giving Perplexity a role, but on a deeper, more heavily controlled level. And each focus mode was specifically tailored with relevant parameters and data. Web mode, for example, is tailored specifically for web-based requests that require relevant, real-time data. If you've got a general question like, what are the latest developments in renewable energy, this mode hops across the internet, skims news articles, blog posts, official websites, and so on. It's perfect when you just need a quick overview or a sense of what's trending out there. The academic focus is for academic research queries, like what are the latest findings on dark matter. It won't just spit out mainstream media headlines, it's It's going to dig into journals, peer-reviewed articles, maybe even get into that hardcore astrophysics data. It's a great mode for serious research or when you need reliable, scholarly backed answers. Correctness and first-person experience, what you're after really. Check out Geek Academy for that. It has both and then some. Told compilations, guides, exclusive videos, AI news and trends. There's a lot of value get for the price of a cup of coffee. As for Perplexity, we've also got video focus. Let's say you're asking how to play basic chords on guitar. Instead of giving you a dense block of text, it might help you find video tutorials or walk you through with a step-by-step guide. The social focus is what I like to call the Reddit mode, because it basically gets its data from Reddit and similar websites. If I ask, what are people saying about the latest Apple release, it's going to collect the hottest takes, complaints, so on. I sometimes use it to see what's public opinion on something I'm making a video about. The math focus, obviously, is for math-related queries, like solve the equation. My example is really simplistic, but you can dump some really advanced math problems on Perplexity, and it will solve them. The last focus mode is writing. As the name suggests, it's tailor-made for creating written content. That's about it. Any written task like outlines, essays, articles. Even though Perplexity is mostly focused on research and text-based tasks, it can also make images. It doesn't have its own in-house model, so it uses open source or third-party models instead. If you're used to typing a prompt and instantly getting a picture, Perplexity might feel a bit odd. You'll type your request and it will say something like, can't generate an image, but then you see the generate picture over on the right side. Kind of weird, right? If you want a more direct way of generating images, you can convert any thread into a page, click add media, then generate media, and pick from one of 4 styles. And boom, get your image on the page. No extra steps, no prompting, but if you ask me, I'd probably just go with dedicated image AI for that. DALL-E is an option, and ironically, that's one of the models Perplexity uses anyway. Makes you wonder why they don't just go this straightforward route. Extra feature number 1, the AI data retention option in settings. This basically lets Perplexity use your search queries to improve the models. If you're good with that, leave it on. If you're working with something private or sensitive, maybe switch it off. I toggle it off when I'm dealing with any info I'd rather keep on wraps. I also recommend going to Profile in Settings and customizing the Perplexity's responses. This is pretty much like custom instructions for ChatGPT, but framed a bit differently. ChatGPT asks for stuff you do, your name, and an explanation of how it should behave and respond to your queries. Perplexity only asks for a personal description, location, and a response language. That's it. So instead of explaining what to do and how to do it, it's more about tailoring information to your personal situation. My advice here would be to abandon Perplexity's suggestions and provide instructions while telling about yourself. In my description, I tell about myself first and then explain what I want Perplexity to do. The impact of this might not be huge, but it's definitely there. The most questionable feature, in my opinion, is the Pages feature that transforms a thread into an article. I'm personally not super into it, and maybe most users won't be either. You can't disable it, so it's just always there. And ironically, it's one of only 2 ways to generate images. Another feature that's always on is finance. Pretty much it includes all those real-time financial data, stock price graphs, analysis, and so on. Other AIs can work with finances too, but it seems like only Perplexity can do it live, with relevant data updated in real time. Perplexity also has a shopping feature that's supposed to help with buying stuff, but it's very picky about the stuff it works with, so I'd probably advise you to ignore this one unless you really need help with picking the wireless earbuds or something like this. With all these features, the target audience and target use case for Perplexity become clear. Research of any kind. I see 5 types of people would benefit Perplexity. And for each group, I have a few prompts that you would want to remember. Group number 1, students. For them, Perplexity Pro Search is a lifesaver for understanding all those academic topics. It can ask you to summarize your course material and then write quick study guides or practice questions. For example, try the prompt, create a detailed study early guide for the American Civil War, including key events, figures, and their significance. And Spaces actually let you collaborate with fellow students on research for joint projects. And with Perplexity, you can generate a project plan that divides up tasks. A good prompt for that is develop a project timeline for a group presentation of renewable energy sources, including task assignments and deadlines. Group number 2, professionals. Kind of a vague wording, but hear me out. You can run in-depth industry research for competitor analysis, keep tabs on recent developments in your field per se. Here's the prompt just for that. Provide a comprehensive review of the latest trends in artificial intelligence and machine learning in the healthcare industry. You can also use Perplexity's code interpreter for data analysis and debugging. It's also good at dissecting complicated issues step by step. For entrepreneurs, Perplexity can create outlines and do preliminary market research. Here's a simple prompt. Or you can also research your competitors. We also have creatives and people who can't stop learning. Kind of a weird combo, but still. Prompts like generate 10 unique story ideas for science fiction novel set in a post-apocalyptic world are a piece of cake for Perplexity, and it can be really creative. Perplexity can also generate you a study plan. Develop comprehensive learning plan for someone interested in mastering digital photography, including key concepts, recommended resources, and practice exercises. If you're worried about your prompts, don't. Perplexity is really conversational, so you can just talk to it like you would to a regular person. And all the prompts and tips for ChatGPT and Gemini will work here as well. So be sure to click here and check out our comprehensive guides and those tools. Thanks for watching. See you in the next one.